This thing on? Hello? Ooh. Hey, how's it going? It's hard picking a lens, I know. I've been there. I've done that. So let me help you out a bit. May I present the Sigma 24-70 f2.8. Okay, that's it. That's the video. Buy the lens. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. I'm kidding. If I could only buy one lens, it would be this lens, the Sigma 24-70 f2.8. It's a well-built lens, super sharp, great image quality, f2.8 on a full-frame camera that's honestly as far wide open as you probably need for most situations. And it's just a solid lens. I'm gonna regret this. If this lens were a woman, she would be strong, beautiful, dependable, right there when you need her. Sure, she's not the most exciting option out there. You know, she seems almost like just the right choice, but you know, sometimes you want to see what else is out there. But at the end of the day, this is the lens that's gonna be able to stick with you, you know? She's marriage material. I've decided to take somewhat of a scientific approach. At least I want to evaluate this lens the best I can with numeric values to actually compare it to other lenses in the future. So for this, what I've done is I've made a couple categories that I am going to score the lens off of. I have 4 categories. They are value, scored out of 10 points, usability, scored out of 10 points, build quality, scored out of 8 points, and of course, image quality, scored out of 20 points. So first up on the chopping block is value. Is this lens good value? Yes, kind of. So if you look at the other lenses in this lens's weight class, it's really hard to find something that has a better price attached to it. It's hard for me to say because this lens retails for $1,100, which is an expensive lens. But also all L-mount lenses are really expensive and it sucks. But you do get what you're paying for. I will say the lens is built well, great image quality. We'll get to those all later. But the pure value of it, I would say it's good. It's not fantastic. I'm not surprised what I get for the money, but you do get what you're paying for. So in comparison, for the same focal length and same aperture lens of the Leica Pro version, that lens is $2,000. And then there's the Vario Elementar, or I don't even know how to pronounce it. Elemerit? Vario Elemerit? We'll go with that. Yeah, sure. That one is $2,900. That's a lot for a lens. It may be better, but I don't want to spend that much. Also, since it is a zoom lens, comparing it to primes, it's a better value than buying the 4 prime lenses that the focal length of this lens covers. Even if you just went with like a 24, 35, 50, this lens is still cheaper than getting like the base L-mount Lumix lenses. I will say there are not a ton of options out there for L-mount lenses, which is probably why you're watching this video actually. So, you know, welcome. So I bought this lens as an upgrade to the kit lens, the 20-60 f 3.5 to 5.6, so it is a variable aperture. This lens retails for $500, which also I think is a little much for a kit lens. It is a good lens, but the variable aperture really hurts me. But if you are looking for a much cheaper option, you know, this is less than half the price. On eBay, you can find them for about $300. So, you know, do what you want with that information. So for the final score, again, this being an $1,100 lens, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It would be higher if it were cheaper. Which, by the way, 7 out of 10, that's a fairly good score in my book. It's not a value beast. Again, you definitely get what you pay for it. So, usability. How easy is this lens to use? And what's the user experience like? I quite like it. For one, it being a zoom lens, Trust me, I love primes, but like switching lenses sucks, especially when you need to be running and gunning and you don't always have time to like, hey, everyone pause, stop what you're doing, gotta change my lens. You know, you're at a wedding or whatever, hold that kiss, don't kiss yet. I gotta change my lens. The autofocus on it, it does work. It works fairly well. I'm using it right now with the S5 Mark II coming out and people actually getting their hands on them now. I will say that the autofocus performance on this lens is actually fairly good. It's quite snappy. I've never had any issues with it, and even using it on the S5 right now, which I'm filming on, not an S5 Mark II, it works pretty well. I can't have any complaints. I mean, yes, the S5 does have the little hunting effect with the contrast-based autofocus. That's a whole nother issue, but you know, it works. It works fairly well, and I know that is a concern sometimes with third-party lenses, but need not be concerned. It works great. Another thing is that the manual focus to autofocus switch on the lens itself actually communicates back to the camera, but it is nice knowing that if I want to switch to manual focus on my lens, I can just do it on my lens and I'm in manual focus, or I can just do it on the camera body itself and I'm in manual focus. I don't have to make sure both switches, you know, I don't have to turn two switches in order to be in manual focus or autofocusing. It's just one flip of a switch and I've switched it. The only downside of this lens is it is fairly heavy. It's a large lens. The filter size on this lens is 82 millimeters, which is the largest lens I've ever used. So usability wise, that definitely kind of knocks a few off the score. It is something to note, especially if you want to put it on a gimbal. You may want to make sure that your gimbal can handle it. Some gimbals made mostly for mirrorless cameras may not be able to handle the S5 plus this lens. Now, I don't know for sure. It's just something you may want to be warned about. So overall, total score is 8 out of 10, which is good. Still a really good score. Build quality. I'm gonna be honest, when I first picked up this lens, it's nice. It's really nice, especially going from like this cheapo like plastic lens, which by the way, again, not knocking this lens. It's a good lens for the value. But this lens is like, it's got that extra cherry on top that you feel like you're holding a real quality product. So the majority of the housing is made out of metal, which does kind of factor into the weight, but it just feels so solid. I like it. Some people may prefer the plastic or the polymer because they want something a little lighter, I guess, but I think the metal was a good choice for this one because it feels so much more solid and I'm not worried about it breaking. It feels like a tank. I feel like I could climb a mountain with this thing and it would be right there with me, no issues. So with the strong build quality, it is also weather sealed, which is really good to have because, you know, you may not be someone that finds yourself in, you know, harsh weather environments, but sometimes you just out in a shoot and it starts raining out of nowhere and you don't want to like have to hide your camera body or whatever. It's just, it gives you that extra like peace of mind knowing that your camera will be safe while using this lens. Also, for you manual focus people out there, the focus ring on this lens is really smooth, like really smooth, and I love it. It is a little lighter than I'd like. I'd like a tad more resistance. I do use like a follow focus system, so you know that also helps. So final score for build quality, 8 out of 8. I have no complaints. I cannot think of a negative thing. It's a solid lens. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, image quality. The cherry on top. No, it's not the cherry on top. It is the ice cream. It is the whole milkshake. Image quality is the whole milkshake. Is it good? Yeah, it's fantastic. It's super sharp. It's a super clean image. It's a good base to just do whatever you want with it. I don't feel like there's something this lens can't do. The f2.8, you get that nice, creamy, out of focus background. Something I can't quite put my finger on, and something I don't know how to 100% quantify, but it has that professional image quality. It doesn't look like something you cheaped out on. It looks like it's a high quality lens, and it's the kind of lens quality that even if you put it on like a lesser camera body, it would make that camera body look even better. It is that kind of extra wow factor in a lens that I really appreciate, and I really like it. And I wish I could tell you exactly what it is. I wish I could tell you it's because of the sharpness, or it's because of the, coatings on the lenses, or that kind of thing. But you have great sharpness, you have great contrast, all those beautiful colors in the world make it to your camera sensor in a great way, and I have no complaints on that front. Now, there is one thing I do have to mention with this lens is I'm a big fan of lenses with character. I love vintage lenses. So my favorite lens that I currently own is this Helios 44M-4. This one has been modded with like an anamorphic mod. It's really great. I have a whole video on this if you want to check it out. But I really appreciate lenses with character. This lens, while it's probably the cleanest image you can get out of a lens, there's no character to it. But that doesn't mean that that's necessarily a bad thing. Because the lens is so sharp, you can add all sorts of filters to it. So the sky is honestly the limit when it comes to that kind of thing. Right now I have a black mist 1/4 diffusion. Because this lens is so clean, it really does let the effects of the filter shine. A lot of the times when you start adding like diffusion filters, it'll make your whole image kind of soft, and if you use it on a lesser lens, it may make it look a little blurry, but right now it's beautifully blooming these highlights. Dang it, that one light went out. Shoot, I never turned it on. No, it's definitely dead. The battery says like 0. All right, we'll let that guy. Just to prove a point. It really lets those highlights bloom. So I really appreciate that. Image quality, final score out of 20. I'm gonna have to give it 17. Just the fact that prime lenses exist, and Sigma also does have their own line of art prime lenses, which I can assume are gonna look very similar to this, probably even just a little bit better. I can't quite give this thing a perfect score, but I'd still say 17 out of 20 is a really good score. And again, this lens is fantastic. So my final thoughts, if you are looking for a lens and you have not purchased one yet, you should purchase this one. The S5 Mark II is, I believe, shipping now some places, or probably on back order. And if you're looking for a great lens to pair with it, I'd highly recommend this one. Once you buy this lens, I cannot think of another lens that you would need to upgrade to. It just has pretty much everything you need out of a professional lens. With that said, I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you'd like more videos on this kind of thing. I do plan on making more videos in the future. I have been slacking a lot on doing so, so I hope to change that. I definitely want to make more videos, and I have a lot of plans. So hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Adios, amigos.